Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first we just hit 4,030 subscribers to the channel. I want to give a shout out to all the subscribers. And special tip of the cap goes to the channel members, especially elite channel members Brendon, Mikel, Hasher, Salacious, Crumb, Ryguy, Brendan Nelson's Haircut, VGK Tigers, ItsHoof, the Reno, TlVlO, Austin Roberts, Scott Todd, PH Glass, Aaron Garrett, Eiferman, 12th Man, Eli Bennett, Castillo Feria, Samoan, and JoJo. All right, today I'm not even going to call it breaking news. This is not exactly what you sit down in front of your computer at the end of the day and hope to see from your favorite football team. These are the kinds of things that you only get into if you bleed and die and live with this team. We picked up some players that have like a 2% chance of making the roster in time for the season. And today, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the guys at the bottom of the roster. So, earlier today, the Seahawks signed 4 free agents ahead of rookie minicamp. And this is interesting for a few reasons. None of them because these players have any real chance of making the actual roster. These players are the definition of roster fodder for the training camp, preseason, OTA portion of the year. A couple interesting things are these 4 players that we signed, and I'll go ahead and tell you who they are right now. Safety Joshua Moon, defensive tackle Walter Palmore, defensive end Marcus Webb, and safety Ladarius Wiley. Now, those players have been in the NFL for at least one season. I think all of them were in the NFL last year. None of them really played. A couple of them latched onto a team in the preseason and then got cut before the season started, but they're not rookies. However, they will be eligible to participate in the rookie minicamp this weekend, and I'm going to talk more about the rookie minicamp tomorrow morning, but these are guys you bring in to give your actual rookies somebody to practice against. So, for example, we're bringing in a defensive end like Marcus Webb. And you bring him in part because you want somebody to practice against your new offensive tackle, Stone Forsythe. Because we didn't really bring in a defensive end in UDFA or the draft. So this gives you a warm body with some degree of NFL ability. So your offensive lineman can practice a bit against him. Because we brought in a lot of offensive linemen, but not a whole lot of defensive linemen. So that's part of the reason why you do stuff like this. There isn't a ton to say about the 4 players we picked up. I looked them up a little bit, but I couldn't even find a scouting report because these guys were such low-level prospects when they came out to the draft. I think all 4 of them came out a year ago. Joshua Moon was a safety at Georgia Southern. He's got decent size. He had 3 pretty good years at Georgia Southern, 3 years as a full-time starter. Over 100 tackles over 3 years, 3 sacks, 9.5 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions. So a little bit of a ball hawk, but not too much to speak of here, especially when you're playing in the Sun Belt. It's just, what are you going to say about that other than I guess he's physically capable of playing in the manner that you would hope an NFL or, low-level NFL safety can. Ladarius Wiley is a cornerback / safety. He does have that Pete Carroll size for whatever it's worth, 6'1", 210 pounds. I think he's more of a safety than a cornerback, though. And I will say this, we don't have a ton of safety depth on this team, so maybe there's a path forward for a player like a Ladarius Wiley if he shows out in rookie minicamp and training camp. But it's obviously not likely. If you'll take a look, he had 3 pretty good years at Vanderbilt starting for them. Over 150 tackles over his last 3 years there. 2 interceptions, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Actually playing in a real conference for whatever that's worth. So this guy actually did play against some of the better teams in college football at least. I think he's already like 25 years old too. I could be wrong on that. He might be 24, but he might be 25. So he's already kind of up there in terms of age. Interesting enough, I guess, if any of these 4 guys are going to make the roster, it's probably this guy. This guy probably has the easiest path to the 53-man, but it's still a very long path. Walter Palmore, defensive tackle from Missouri. He's a 300-pounder, so he's got the size of a 3-tech, but if you take a look at the way he played in Missouri, and by the way, he didn't play that much, actually. He only had 2 years there, and he played in a grand total of 16 games, and that was 3 years ago. So he really hasn't done that much in the NFL. I mean, in terms of football, period, the last couple years. He only really had one season where he played a decent amount, 2018, 20 tackles, or excuse me, 31 total tackles and 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss. But he's not really a rusher, it doesn't seem like. So he's kind of a 1-tech and a 3-tech's body. And on a team this deep on the defensive line, probably no path forward. And Marcus Webb is the defensive end from Troy. He actually had a pretty productive college career. In his final season in 2019, he had 9 tackles for loss and 7 sacks. That's pretty credible. Again, he played at Troy, but so did DeMarcus Ware, so did O.C. Umenora, so stuff happens. He had 3 relatively productive years at Troy, so I can't see a path forward for him, but they are warm bodies you can use in the rookie minicamps. And more than that, I think we are now at 90 players, or 91, because we have the bonus roster spot for Aaron Donkor. But as near as I can tell, this is the 90-man roster right now. These 91 players are going to be making up the roster going into training camp, mini camp, OTAs, and eventually the preseason. Near as I can tell, these are the guys. Now, it's very easy to cut somebody if you want to bring somebody else in. If you bring in KJ Wright, Darvin Kidsey can go bye-bye. If you bring in Richard Sherman, Tyler Mabry can go bye-bye. These are easy things to do. But for the moment, this is the 91-man roster as near as I can tell. I may be off in 1 or 2 spots. I know Bob Condotta said we're at 89 players. I have it at 91, so he may know something I don't, or he may be wrong. I don't know. So anyway, as you can see, I added the 4 players, Webb, Palmore, Wiley, and Moon. They are now in the roster fodder section because they all have very long odds to actually make the team. But if one of them does, I would give the best odds to Ladarius Wiley personally. And you guys may remember that in a previous video I said we had 3 open roster spots. So as near as I can tell, we probably let somebody go. According to my research, it was Josh Johnson, the running back. I could not find him on our payroll. So unless the information I was looking at was just out of date or not accurate, I think we might have already let Josh Johnson go. We'll see if he's at rookie minicamp tomorrow. That'll prove whether or not I'm right, I guess. If he doesn't show up, then obviously he's not here anymore. If he does show up, then he must be. So it ultimately doesn't matter. If I'm wrong by a couple of roster spots, it's going to be players who have very little chance of making the roster anyway. So this is a pretty good approximation of the 91-man roster. And yeah, we're ready to hit the ground running into rookie minicamps. So watch for a video tomorrow morning where I discuss what that means. And yeah, I'm going to get out of here. So the major takeaway from all this is that the Seahawks brought in 4 defensive players to provide competition in rookie minicamps and get us to a 91-man roster. And here's how I see it breaking out right now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think anything of those 4 players. I doubt most people will know who they are, and I wouldn't spend too long getting to know them because they're so unlikely to make the team. But that's the 91-man. All right. Peace out, Go Hawks. See you guys in stream later tonight.